All right, so we are blessed with Mrs. Vera Quinn on the call. So Vera, we appreciate you taking the time and sharing your wisdom and your experiences. And obviously you've got a ton of respect and love here from this crowd. So thanks for joining us here today.
My pleasure. Appreciate everybody's time and I appreciate the questions.
Yeah, and I appreciate all the, the owners, the preparation. I mean, for a few weeks now, I've had owners emailing me a bunch of questions like, hey, we've got Vera on a call on July 6th. What should we ask her? And let's try to make this a little bit different. I think on the last call, the last time we had you, which was probably around 6 months ago, it was a lot of the vision and where everything's going. And at that time of year, New Year, January, I think that was, not that it's not relevant now, but that was really front of people's minds, then. And I want to start this one off with a question from Kevin up in Toronto. I mean, since NatCon, it's hard to believe we're a month away from NatCon. So here we go again with that fun season, of the national conferences. But the question he wanted you to answer is, how would you explain the relationship between the ICL and CIDCOR? When are you bringing CIDCOR in on the conversation? How are you explaining this relationship?
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't his question. His question was, how would Vera like us to explain to the reps what CIDCOR does for them?
Okay, let's go with that.
Right, so that's a little different. Okay. That is a little different. Because the when I'd explain it, how I'd explain it, when do I introduce it, I would probably go to somebody on this call who does it really well and say, okay, you guys teach everybody how to do it. When's the right time? When do you introduce CIDCOR? We have different schools of thought, right? But I do think it's a massive mistake if you're walking into that conference and, the very first time anybody hears about CIDCOR is at that conference. I think we all can agree to that. I think there is a distinction. So this is how I would explain CIDCOR, to the reps from the perspective of what does CIDCOR do for them? Hey, CIDCOR is contracted with the ICLs, and the reps are employees or independent contractors in Canada to the ICLs. What CIDCOR does is we sign national clients. We negotiate the terms, the comp, the process, the training for the execution of the sale. Most of our clients pay us net 30 or net 60 after the calendar month. So think about that from a bank perspective. You do a sale on Monday, July 1st. Money doesn't come into CIDCOR sometimes until August 30th, sometimes September 30th, right? So what are we playing? We're the bank, right? CIDCOR normally, most of our clients have clawbacks between 60 and 180 days past the sales date. So sales that are done are then clawed back 60 to 180 days. We know that that doesn't work in our model, cannot work in our model. So what CIDCOR does, we front the cash flow to the ICLs so they can pay their people. CIDCOR normally eats the biggest portion of the clawbacks. As we know, timely reporting is probably one of the most important things from a credibility perspective to you and your people. But CIDCOR doesn't have a relationship with the rep. We have a relationship with the ICL. Now, I have here, which I think is interesting, we use it, Jamie, when we're talking to our clients about what we do. And I can send this out to everybody. I don't know if I can share screen here for a second. And I don't even know.
You can.
Okay, so hang on. Let's see if I can get this to be see if you guys can see this. Okay, so share screen. Can you all see that?
Yes.
And can you see it well?
Yes.
Okay, so now, again, what is CIDCOR? CIDCOR is campaign teams. CIDCOR is finance team. CIDCOR is all of IT. CIDCOR is legal for US and Canada. CIDCOR is marketing and creative services. We're operational support. We're people services. We're sales enablement. We're sales quality, and we're service innovation. So again, if somebody wanted to tangibly know, hey, what are all the functions that CIDCOR does? All of these functions exist to support the ICL. So that's how I would explain it. If anybody has any questions or wants this, actually, I'll email it to you, Jamie, and then you can send it out if you want to everybody.
Yeah, sounds good. So back to kind of my framing around that same question, because obviously I was looking at it like, oh yeah, NatCon's coming up in a month. Let's say you've got a new person you're bringing on board in July. They're coming to the conference in August. I mean, again, I know your answer, like, well, let's see what would Brendan Fulkerson say? I'm just curious, what would Vera Quinn say? If you're running an office, you're in an ICL, what would you tell the new person who CIDCOR is?
Yeah, we're similar to a client broker. We provide the ICLs the opportunity to represent various Fortune 500 clients across the United States and Canada. We've been in business for 30 years. We've had an amazing support structure. Hopefully what CIDCOR does is it gives people like me and you a chance to run our own businesses. What CIDCOR does is creates a community and a space where we can leverage our similar community, whether that's in the way we teach and train, whether that's in our culture about, coaching and developing others to become their best version of themselves, whether it's, hey, we're creating entrepreneurs. What CIDCOR does is create the infrastructure and it creates the community. And we are allowed to tap into that or not tap into that as much as possible, as long as the rules of the programs are followed. That's how I would explain it.
Yeah, great.
We have a network of, 280 something ICLs with now, I think we're at 3,400 sales reps.
And just to piggyback on that, I've always said CIDCOR has this amazing network and this amazing support structure if you tap into it. There's nothing, CIDCOR's got really no value in the world of coaching and developing other people if you're not knocking on the door. But if you do knock on the door, my goodness, do we have some amazing, talented humans willing to help out without charging any money? I mean, which is amazing. All right, so I'm gonna go on to another question. Again, these questions are different. I like this. This is from Len.
Yeah.
Obviously, you spent lots of time with him in Tahiti.
Yeah.
But he's curious to get your thoughts on potentially implementing some sort of fee for coaching, consulting, or educating. And I think what he's talking about is just kind of reaching outside of the CIDCOR business. Like, is there, what are your thoughts on owners potentially doing that?
Yeah, I think at some point in time, I think we're going to create some sort of standardization and create together some sort of formal certification. I see that on our path in the future, where we could guarantee, if a human being comes through this opportunity, then this opportunity is worth the skill and the commission and the teaching and learning, but it also is tangibly might be sales 1.0, right? Or 101 at this college or at this university. I see that happening. Once that happens, we'll have people who want to work with us, and then we're going to have people who want to pay to learn. Right? I think the way formal education is structured, my bet is that's going to be changing a lot in the next 5 to 10 years. I think practical application for skills learned is going to be much more valuable. I think interpersonal communication and interaction, I think, will become much more valuable. Where we have to work on is how do we standardize the experience so then you could go and market the experience to be able to then get paid for the experience. Like, I'll give you an example. If you want to be a real estate agent, there is, what is the Series 7 that you have to, well, the Series 7 is the Series 7 if I'm in California, maybe with a few tweaks. It's the Series 7 if I'm in Florida, maybe with a few tweaks. But I'm pretty much guaranteed if I do the Series 7, then at the end of it, I know this and I'm certified. People pay for that. Right? So I kind of took the question that way. Now, I know certain people, and I myself, Jamie, have been paid to speak at other places. We're pretty powerful at public speaking. I think if somebody sees us, I'm part of YPO, my forum mates are like, can you come talk to my people, my company? Can you talk to them about mindset, or can you talk to them about work ethic, and hey, this is X amount of dollars for the engagement. I think that's starting to happen with certain people in the field too. So do I see it happening? Yeah. Yeah, but I think the consistency in the process, if we can figure that out and then go and say, I don't care if you're in Alaska, I don't care if you're in, London, England, I don't care if you're in India running an office, and you go through this program, we can guarantee, we'll certify that this is what you'll know and what you can do. And is that worth something? I believe it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it interesting, this, just to piggyback on that question too. I mean, you're always, part of your role, you're thinking of the vision of where we're going. I mean, the other day you were posing a question to me, or maybe it was even just a comment where you're like, how are we preparing for the future when we're going to be recruiting kids that what they know is they get a participation ribbon when they show up for things, like these kids, they're young now, but we're going to be hiring these guys 15 years from now or something like that. How are we prepping for that? I mean, how much time are you spending on really the vision of preparing for the next generation? I mean, it wasn't that long ago we were talking about Generation Y's coming through the doors. How are we preparing? Gen Z's coming through the doors. How are we preparing? But how much time are you putting into that?
Well, I think, where I'm spending a lot of time right now when it comes to innovation in the future, it's a little bit different. I want to expand the paths to the opportunity. I think that's important. You have the entrepreneurial path, you have the pay for performance path. And that is the one, listen, we all bought into that path. That's why we signed up. We're totally into it. I want to get paid on what I can achieve and how I perform. Okay. We hire a lot of people who they're not that they're not into the path, they're just great people. It's not their path. And so that's the brand ambassador model, right? In my mind, I'm awesome, I'm smart, I can talk to you. Maybe I just can't close. Maybe I can't ask for the sale. Maybe I don't overturn the objection great, but I can show you this. Or I can talk to you about Mini Cooper, which is who we're talking to right now. Or I can talk to you about, Bread Financial, which is the credit card of the NFL, and go stand in an NFL stadium. I can, there is a group of people, and actually a large group of people that we recruit that can do that. And there are clients that will pay us a flat rate for us to recruit and manage those people, right? So first I want to expand the pipe. Okay, going the other way. We have a lot of people, maybe they don't want to be an entrepreneur. They're just, hey, I love this, and I love the ability to make lots of money, and that's where I want to stay. Okay, well, what's our next path for them? What's the next thing? You've developed these incredible customer relationships. How do you keep making money on that? Because that, if I'm moving into higher end sales, that's kind of a piece of how do I either leverage the relationship, or how do I get a residual? Or how do I move upstream to do something a little bit more complex? Okay, let's expand the path. Then my pool is what? It's just bigger. I have a bigger pool of people. Now, if I have a bigger pool of people, I'll still have the killers. Like Stephen is not waiting for a participation award. I don't imagine, the kids that we raise are going to wait for a participation award. So there'll be that. They'll probably go through the middle, want to be an entrepreneur, I want to do that. Then there'll be a path, okay, but we've now created another path for people that want to be an incredible community, want to learn, grow, and develop. And maybe, okay, so why can't the brand ambassador path be the path for them? But I think we have to develop options. So that's really what, if I think probably 65% of my time goes to, okay, what are we doing down those paths? How are we testing? How are we piloting? Who are we, how are we doing this? I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, that's great. Great. Going to keep shifting gears. This came from Jeff Henderson, and this one's near and dear to his heart because he just went through this, but preferred vendor retail. How do we become the preferred vendor in Walmart or any of these, big box stores. I mean, what do we need to do to be the number one option for these retailers?
Okay, I'm just going to throw out the question, throw it back to you. Maybe you guys can tell me, how do we become the preferred vendor?
I can answer that one.
How, Garrett?
High quality sales coming through for our commitments. Do what we say. Hire good people.
Yeah, we got to get the result. Okay, so when I think about Jeff's question in that particular, his particular experience, you have VPGM, they call them, or GMs in Walmart. Okay, that particular GM is over Houston. They're over San Antonio, and they're over Austin. He wants one vendor in the store. Okay, how did he pick the vendor? Do you know? You're going to guess.
Performance.
Performance? What else?
Quality, minimal complaints.
Quality, minimal complaints, and one other thing. What's vitally important?
Staffing.
Staffing. Okay, so Houston, we're reliant on NRG. He kept us in his Walmart stores. San Antonio, Franco's in those stores. No other vendor is. And in Austin, we're not in the stores because there was another vendor performing better. So he went with them. Walmart is a little different in the box space. The GMs have the power to say who's in and out. It's not a corporate decision. The GMs who run their boxes, they get to make the decision. Costco, we are a preferred vendor of Costco. We're one of 3 preferred vendors. We're going through the process right now for Best Buy and becoming a preferred vendor at Best Buy. Walmart and Sam's, they're going to be trickier. They're going to be trickier. They have decentralized decision-making. Now, do we meet with them? We talk to AT&T about it. We try and get in, but they just run their business differently.
Does it make sense for owners to put effort into developing those relationships where the decision-making is regional?
Again, I'm going to ask a question. I'm working under the assumption that everybody has been trained on that. I'm working under the assumption that all of our retail owners know that yes, developing the relationships in the store and then developing the relationships with the regionals is vital to what we're doing. That's my understanding. Now, if somebody else has a different understanding, like, hey, Vera, I've never heard of this before. We don't train on this. We don't talk about this on retail calls. Just reach out. I won't blow anybody up, but I'll be like, okay, let's do the training so everybody can catch up. But my understanding is this has been a full court press for a while. And again, a lot of the people on this call can validate or not validate that. So if I'm wrong, let me know, but I'm operating under the, I listen to Rich and Lex talk. I know how important it is to them. I seriously doubt it's not coming out of their mouth and their people mouth. But if it isn't, and we got to do a better job there, then cool. Just, raise that and let's make sure everybody knows. But it's vital. It is vital.
Yeah, my understanding is it's really talked about on that macro level, but the how-tos and the process is kind of left up to everybody. So there's probably some room for improvement on a process.
Yeah. So, hey, who wants to take the flag? Anybody want to take the flag and say, I'll run with this. Let me go to Lex and let's standardize this. So it isn't so, Vera, you figure it out. Carmen, you figure it out. Grant, you figure it out.
Yeah. Well, Grant definitely won't figure it out.
No, he won't. I just saw him out of the corner of my eye.
He's got other fish to fry.
He does.
All right. Well, I see Gabe. This was Gabe's question. I mean, this is like the same question we had 6 months ago, and it never really gets old. But what new exciting opportunities are on the horizon? What does the future look like here, Vera?
Yeah, so brand ambassador, I think we've done over 250 Costco shows. I may be like way behind on that number. We're looking to do about 600-700 this year. upsell, cross-sell. We're going to do 500 lines on AT&T residential this month for the residential guys, where we upsell the wireless lines. Now, if you think about that retail wise, okay, where we're not selling TV or broadband, that could be reversed. We just got to figure out how to do that on retail. We have the call center reach out. We have a 5% increase in completion rate on the res program. If you're opting your customer in and giving them the white glove service, 5% increase in completion rate. And then we've up, again, the upsell of the lines, and then the rep and owner get paid. So it was something that we wanted to do. It's something we've been talking about. We did the pilot on AT&T. We proved out the numbers. So we're just running with that one. Connect Me Better. We own the customer relationship. The customer opts in to the Connect Me Better world. They are now a customer that we can reach out to for other things. We have some people on the B2B side that are going back to those customers, sell them one product, sell them two products, sell them three products. I think our numbers are, we're about 30-something% on resold customers with different services and products. Okay, now Connect Me Better, I think what's most interesting for me in the B2B space, it's the ability to take the relationship. It's the ability to keep in contact with the customer as the rep or as the entity, right? It's the ability to then talk to the customer the way they want to be spoken to. So I'll give you an example. Mrs. Quinn, you marked down that your business wants merchant processing. You'd love to learn some more about payroll services, and office supplies is super interesting to you. I just sold you telecom, or I just sold you water, or I just sold you Amazon or some other product. How would you like us to contact you about these products or services? Well, I prefer text. Great. Then we text about the next big product or service, or the big discount, or hey, we've done some research, or I want you to send somebody out to my office. Okay, great. Let's go send the person back out to your office. You know what? We can Zoom. I'm cool with Zoom. You want to talk to me in this virtual face-to-face environment. So we're piloting, we're testing that. Now there are customers. We have access to them. We can continue to talk to them. There are certain places in the world that are developing new products and services for B2B customers, right? What if we were the pipe? Right? There's going to be a company, AI company. They're going to be AI consultants. Maybe we'll be the AI consultants using AI to consult. Who knows? Lots of these companies are going to start. Do you want access to, 32 million small business customers? Do you want the name and the decision maker? Oh, and the ability through Connect Me Better to contact them, because you don't have that ability. So it does two things, right? It creates a longer term relationship with the customer. That's number one. Number two, maybe residual, may not be residual, but the customer stream will be residual, right? Might be from one product, then another product, or if it's merchant processing, you could do it same product, residual income. Also, that's of value to everybody on this call. If I run LA and I have 2 million people in my book, I'm sure that can be monetized in some way, which, is a different conversation than today. And, I don't think selling to B2B customers is going to go away anytime soon. I think being able to reach a B2B decision maker is a very difficult thing. And I think to be able to either distribute for those new products and services or give them the pipeline, that is going to generate revenue in ways that we've not even thought of. Okay, did I answer your question? Now, I also did some work on, hey, what's coming for retail? So we got the Costco roadshows, Best Buy, and again, we're going to do it two ways. We'll probably sell the AT&T product in the Best Buy, and we'll do brand ambassador work in the Best Buy. Bread Financial, and it's a diversification, right? You have IKEA, Academy Sports, Bread Financial is the official card of the NFL. We will be staffing NFL games this year, which, you know, I don't know, sounds kind of cool. Target just expanded 70 new stores 2 weeks ago, 70 more in the next 3 weeks, another 100 in September, October. Obviously, we have a big push to get more clubs. So the better we do on this side of the business, right, the more clubs we can go into. And we haven't necessarily heard when their pilots with the T-Mobiles and, you know, the Verizons are going to stop or start. But again, I'm betting on our crew. So hopefully that gives you guys some things to talk about. And you'll hear that at the conference, I'm sure, from Rich.
Yeah, something tells me we're not going to have a hard time staffing NFL games.
I don't think so either. And how fun. I mean, how fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think we got, listen, there's lots of questions on here. I sort of highlighted and prioritized these. Probably our last question here. This is from Hishan here. He says, and I think this is a really good one here. You know, what aha moments do you remember having in your early 20s? I mean, you joined this business, I think, as a teenager, maybe. Does that sound about right? You're 18, 19 when you started. So obviously you're maturing, you're kind of growing up with the business. What were some of those aha moments in your early 20s?
So one of the biggest things I think I learned, Sean, was have and maintain a great attitude, and that you choose that. I kind of always lived in this world, right, where no, things happen and you react to those things. And I remember the door I was standing at when I had a conversation with a customer. It did not go well. He was not very nice to me. And I remember saying to myself, this person is either going to ruin the rest of your day, or you get the opportunity to choose. I don't know that I could have even discerned that without some of the training I had in the field. I don't know that it would have been a conscious thought, right? Just react, react, react. But I learned this new pattern of thinking. Okay, so that was a big aha moment. I don't want to brag. I don't mean this to be, how hard do you think it was for me to talk to customers?
Not hard.
Not hard.
No. How hard was it for me to go see whatever at that time, 70, 80 doors?
Not hard.
Not hard. You know what was hard for me? The pushing past the standard. Hey, at that time, the standard was you got to sell 10. I'll sell 10. I'll sell 10 all day long. Will I sell 15? Will I do 20? Will I extra mile? Will I work more than what good was? So that was also a big aha for me. Hey, this is about competing with yourself. And if you don't push yourself, you're the lid. So that was a big aha for me. And especially later in my career, because I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, you got to push. You have to push. There is no lid unless you just stop. So that was a big aha for me. Listen, I got divorced. I got married 21, got divorced at 26. Okay. One of the biggest ahas, the most important decision you are ever going to make is who you marry. Who you marry. Hey, and that's a hard lesson. I got married young. Listen, all of us could have said whatever. Like, didn't you know? I didn't know. I had my own reasons. Okay. But I did a lot of work, hey, Sean, on, okay, all right, if I pick this person, which that was my tendency, great. What do I need to do to evolve to pick a different kind of person? And I did a lot of work on myself. So that was a big aha. Also happened to have a child and become a single parent in my 20s. And, you know, I don't recommend doing that for a lot of you. You can wait, but it lit a fire under my ass like you have no idea, hey, Sean, like no idea. I want the feedback. I don't care if it's brutal. I don't care what you tell me. I will do the work to get better, and I will do anything to win. And then another, you know, just big aha in my life was meeting Gary and Ron. It just changed my perspective of what could be, how could it be? Who could it be? I didn't, I grew up with very different people. My parents were very different. So that was another, just those aha moments for me. And I don't know if it was in my 20s or 30s, but I'll tell you guys a quick story. I don't know if anybody has to leave. If you do, no big deal. I just spoke at a conference, and hey, Sean, I was so full of myself. I mean, it's embarrassing actually, if I think about it now, who I am now to who I was then. And I remember Gary's in my office. Like, he comes to my office to say, hey, and I go, wasn't I great? Like, who even talks like, anyway, okay. Wasn't I just awesome? I thought I was really great. He's leaning over my desk, right? I'm sitting at and he leans over like he's going to tell me a secret, right? I lean over and he says to me, you're not perfect. I was like, what kind of dumb coaching is this? What kind of, Gary, he's like so confidence building and right. I was like, oh, okay. Then he leans back again, like, okay, he's going to correct himself because obviously he's nuts. He says, and everybody knows it. And it probably took me 4 weeks to speak to him. I will tell you something. From that day forward, I never needed to be perfect again. Massive amount of pressure, massive amount of weight. I was just like, you just go. You're not going to be great at everything. It's totally okay. You're going to go excel at the things that you're really going to excel at. Just don't worry so much about what everybody else is thinking. And really, it was like one of those moments in my life that I was like, thank God. So I hope I answered your question. You had some really good ones in here. I appreciated them.
Great. Well, Vera, this was awesome. Very, I don't know, raw and not the usual, mix of questions we have for you. So thank you for taking the time, and we look forward to seeing you in approximately 1 month at the national conferences.
I cannot wait. Thanks everybody for your time. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.